Hey,
I missed you.
look at your bangs.
Thank you. I wanted them like a little more bangy, but like it's already been a week and my hair grows so fast. So they're
Mm.
already like kind
Well, I
of
feel like
just
the
like,
middle pieces right there, are so short.
yeah, I mean, it's like kind of short, but it's not like the way that my hair wants to like split. Like it doesn't want to come into the middle.
Mhm.
But also, I slept on my hair wet. And so, like, I kind of just gave my hair a little blow dry this morning.
Mhm.
So they're like not that good right now.
No,
It's
they look
not like
great.
fully styled, so
Got it. Well,
I
they look better than mine ever does when I have it like that. So
I can't
I think
figure
you're
out
doing great.
my part's being a little weird today too. But thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I really was just kind of in my Sabrina Carpenter era and I wanted a little more piecemeal in the front.
No, I love it. I love it.
Thank you. How you been? How was your
Great.
solo weekend? Tell me all about it.
It was so good. I did legitimately nothing. Like nothing. I
Did you
had
just
grand
watch SVU and Paint by Numbers? Like, is
Literally.
that
No, I'm not kidding. I think I literally painted for 8 hours yesterday straight.
do you have
No
hand
ga
cramps? Like, what's going on?
no, I had neck cramps though from, leaning over. I was like, "Now I get why artists use easels." It was, so hard. I was like I kept moving around to find a good painting spot.
You got to get that
Um,
natural light.
yes. Oh my god, the lighting was very difficult, but I got through, 75% of it.
Okay.
I
I mean, you sent me a
probably
photo today and it looked gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah. So it takes so long. Oh my god, those are because it's so small. Like, the pieces are
Mhm.
so small that you're painting, and it it's like I'll be working on it for, an hour,
Yeah, I feel
and
like
I'll come back, and
I
I'm
would
like,
need
"Nothing's done."
the diamond glasses, like how you look to cut like at the clarity of a
Well,
diamond or a
that's
gem.
why
Like
I think my
I wouldn't
neck
be able
hurt.
to see the numbers. I'd be like,
No, I think that's literally why my neck hurt, because I was literally bending so far over. I was just craning my neck to see what was going on. I was like, "Oh my god," I kept, having to, roll my neck out. I
You're
was
like,
like,
I need
"I'm
a
in pain."
massage.
Yeah, it was great. It was well, it was better than on Saturday. I was like, "Oh, I'm, watching TV and doing this, and it's so fun." And so I was in the living room, and I just
Mhm.
had it on the coffee table, and so I was bent over. Better on my neck, to be honest. Way worse on my back.
Yeah, that feels like a recipe for
Oh my
disaster.
god, my lower back, I couldn't walk. I, stood up, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so stiff." But I had a lot of fun, and sometimes I feel like you really just need a weekend where you don't do anything and you don't have
100%.
expectations on it. I had to go to the store on Saturday night because I was like, "Wow, I haven't eaten today and I don't have anything in my house, so I need to go get, the bare minimum."
Mhm.
Um, and that got me through Saturday and yesterday, but I was I was locked in on my painting. I
I love
forgot to eat a bunch
that.
of times, and then I watched the Oscars, which was so
Mhm.
fun,
So
and I actually
fun.
really liked the Oscars last night. I felt like they did
Same.
a good job.
Mhm.
Um, and oh, also, new favorite Ben& and Jerry's flavor
Okay, tell
unlocked.
me. Tell
Have you
me
tried the
immediately.
cannoli?
Yes, it's so good.
Some of
It's
their best
so
work.
good.
Some of their best work.
It's really good.
The mascarpone ice cream, I
Yeah.
was like, "This is, legitimate mascarpone."
Yeah,
It
it's
had the
really good.
texture. It was so good.
Yeah.
The chocolate covered cannoli shell pieces,
S
get out
I
of here.
the thing is I want more of those. Like, I feel
Yes,
like they skimp
100%.
on those a little bit. Like, I wanted a chunkier, like, with more
Yeah.
chocolate-filled shells. Like, that's what I want. And
I
that
felt
would
like there was,
elevate it to a, like, absolute favorite.
yeah,
I
there were
feel
a
like
bunch of little ones, but then you would
shrinkflation
find a chunk, a big chunk of it, and I was
yeah.
like, "Oh."
Shrinkflation has been hitting Ben& and Jerry's hard. I feel like they
Yeah.
were known for, like, kind of being overloaded with, like, the
Mhm.
toppings and, like, the
Yeah.
fillings, and now I'm like, I'm lucky to get a handful of like cookie doughs in the half baked or
Yeah.
tonight dough, and I'm just like, guys, come on.
Yeah, what are your feelings on Ben& and Jerry's, like, cores?
I generally like don't mind them. I think that they don't package them very well most of the time, and I feel like you only get like this much core. It doesn't even go all the way
Mhm.
to the bottom, and then I'm like, well, now I'm out of core. I like the toppers more.
Okay.
The ones
See, I feel like
with the magic shell toppers.
the core is too like, gets too frozen in the middle, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, there's just this, like,
You have to wait
brick
so
in the middle of my
long.
ice
Yeah, you
cream,
have to wait a long time.
and I'm
The,
like, "I didn't want that."
reward
Yeah.
period is a real testament in patience. You have to let it sit, and
Yeah.
that's why I like the toppers because it's not like it runs out kind of quick. Like, have you ever had, like, the Boston cream Ben& Jerry's? It
Mhm.
comes with, like, the chocolate ganache layer, and then it's got, like, pieces of cake and, like,
Mhm.
a cream
But
ice
it's only
cream.
on the top, so I need it to be like a layer, like, I need, like, a
Yeah,
layer
you
cake in there, you
need
know?
yeah, I hear that, but I don't mind. I like the toppers over the cores if I had to pick.
Okay. I hear bold statement
Okay,
incoming.
this is a safe space.
The worst thing that happened because of the pandemic was Ben& Jerry's no longer doing hand-packed pints on Uber Eats.
100%.
That
100%.
shit
That was a devastating
was
development.
like my lifeblood because you could just get it would be a hand-packed pint, so it was soft,
Mhm.
it
It
was
was always the
fresh.
perfect consistency when you
Yeah,
got it.
because
Like,
it
it was
wasn't just, like,
perfect.
sitting
Yes.
in the container
Yeah.
in the freezer for so long. It was it was in the vat, they're scooping it out, they're putting it in it, like, hand-packed pints at any ice cream place are just so much better than buying a pint anywhere else. Like, I used to get that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
at least once a week, I'd be ordering a hand-packed pint on Uber Eats,
And it was worth the
and
extra, like, $10. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it
yes,
was worth it.
and they always had a hand-packed pint of my favorite flavor, which I have not been able to find since,
Which
and so
was?
I'm really feeling what was it? I wanna say it was, like, sweet like sugar or
Hmm.
something. I'm finding it because it
Okay.
was so good. It was like sugar cookie almost, but a little bit almondy.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
was
that
so
sounds
good.
really good. I like the, one of my favorite ones, which is, like, kind of a mainstay, is Oat of This Swirled, and
Yep.
it's like a cinnamon oatmeal cookie, and
Mm.
it's just so perfect. It's one of my favorites, and I love an oatmeal
Oh,
cookie,
yeah.
and for them to have it in ice cream form is really just, like, game changing, but
Yes.
all in all, standard flavor that I know I can usually get at any store is fish food, is, like, kind of my go-to Ben& and Jerry's
Yeah.
staple.
I love Trey Garcia.
Mm,
Strawberry cheesecake too. I
real
love their
good.
any of their cheesecakes. I love getting the graham cracker swirl. You know, I
Mhm,
love a graham cracker in my
mhm.
ice cream. Like, okay, I can't find it, so I'm and now it's gonna bother me. I'm going to my Uber Eats history and I'm going back to 2019 because I actually like I need
You
to
have to
know.
find it.
I
This
have
is
to
crazy,
know.
I've never heard of this flavor
Ugh,
before.
I'm butchering the name like right now, I think. So, okay, orders. Let's go. All orders. The good news is that was gonna say good news is I haven't used Uber Eats in a while since I moved here, but that doesn't mean anything because I used it so much in Boston. Oh, here's when I had to switch over to JP Licks because Ben and Jerry's wasn't doing what I wanted anymore. Oh, we're getting there because it's like so sad. Sweet, okay, it was sweet like sugar, I guess.
Huh,
But it
never
was
heard
like
of
a
it.
sugar cookie ice cream. Yeah, okay, I have like five I have like 5 orders in a row to Ben& and Jerry's just getting sweet like sugar ice cream. Okay, I'm gonna read you the description. I knew
Okay.
it was that. Okay, well, this one's the core. That's not what I want. It was not a core ice cream. Maybe it was a core ice cream and but I got the hand packed pint and so it didn't have the core and so
Hmm,
I got like the core in like mixed in. I don't know
maybe.
because it's sweet cream ice cream with a hint of almond flavor and shortbread cookie and cherry ice cream with cherry in it. What is this? That's not it.
No, because there is one that is like an almond cookie with cherries and like shortbread, and that one's really good too. I don't remember what that one is called.
Maybe that's
Um,
it, but I kept getting Sweet Like Sugar, but I really don't think it was that. Maybe they changed it because I really didn't think it was the core. Oh, Ben and Jerry's Sweet Like Sugar discontinued. Is this why?
it's gotta be.
Oh man.
Yeah, sweet like cherry or sweet like sugar cookie dough core.
Yeah, but I
Interesting.
really don't think it was.
It sounds
'Cause it
so fucking good though.
it was so good. It was the hint of almond. I like.
I think actually now that you say it, I think that I had this one, but I think they made it not a core.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Because the one I had also, I do not think it had the cherry in it. Yeah, because here's the core. I'm looking at a photo of the core, and
Yeah.
it's sugar cookie on one side and the cherry on the other. But that's not what I had. I just feel like this is fake news. Is this a Mandela effect?
This is the Mandela effect. Everyone is witnessing the Mandela effect in
This is
real
a my
time.
Mandela effect. Okay, so what I'm honestly thinking happened is I had Sweet Like Sugar hand packed pint, and so they only gave me that sugar
Yeah.
side, not the core. So I only got that.
Yeah,
That
maybe.
must that like must be it because I can't find it anywhere else. But
Now I have to go. Okay. We can't keep talking about this because we have actual content to record, but I will have to go through all of the graveyard and find the flavor that I'm thinking about.
I bet it's that one because mine said it had cherry in it
But I don't think it was a core. Like that's why I'm not I wouldn't have gotten it. I don't think it was a core. Like I just remember kind of like the almondy
at
biscuit.
at home or like at the store. You got it.
Yeah, at the store.
Mm,
So that's why I'm like I have had like I've had it in the past couple of years. So I'm like really trying to remember. It's tough because my local grocery store carries bare minimum flavors
mhm.
like just your tonight dough, milk and cookies, like half baked. Like if they have a new flavor, it's like a treat. So
Got
like
it.
I haven't been, I'll
You
use
know
the
who
word
always
again,
has good Ben& and
abreast
Jerry's flavors?
to the new flavors. What?
7-Eleven.
Mm.
Low key always gets the new flavors, and I knew that because in the North End, that was my it was across the street.
That
So,
was your plug.
once I couldn't do my hand packed pints, I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna pay Uber Eats prices." It was worth it for the hand packed pints. I would
Yeah.
always pay an Uber Eats for that, but
For a
honestly, I
regular
wanna
no
start doing
shop.
that now. I should check. I've been door dashing on here a lot. There's a lot of door dashers on Cape Cod.
Hmm. Okay.
Fun fact.
They're getting their winter money.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, welcome to TGNF, Ben and Jerry's
Here's fun.
podcast with Kate and Nicole.
I would
My
love to
name's
do a spin.
Kate.
I would love to do a spin-off episode where we just taste test all of the flavors of Ben and Jerry's. Don't tell me with a good time.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Anyway, I'm Nicole, and this is
This is
our
our
show.
show. This is our show, and we talk about Ben and Jerry's, and we go through the ice cream graveyard. But actually, this is an F1 podcast, surprise. And we talk about the world of Formula One racing and all its counterparts.
The glamorous, suspenseful, high thrills world of Formula One racing.
Yes. And today, that's what we're gonna do.
Let's cover a little bit. Let's tell the people our thoughts on the Saudi Arabia race.
Let's do it. I think something important for us to address before we move on to the rest of Saudi Arabia is it was a very tough week to be a
Yeah,
female F1 fan.
yeah,
It was a tough week. We saw, obviously, on last week's episode, we did a little deep dive on the Christian Horner situation and what was kind of going on. Nothing has really changed there, except for the fact that we had a race after this all came out and there was a media day. And a lot of drivers were asked about what they think
yeah.
and, what their opinions are. And we got a lot of really disappointing answers. Just
A lot of
absolutely
disappointing answers.
bottom of the barrel answers.
Yeah.
in terms of calling it a distraction, stuff in the media, kind of just likening it to like media gossip and
Yeah.
like salacious rumors where it's hard to hear that as a fan to say like you it's like you're not going to stand up for things unless it's benefiting you or
Right.
unless you have a play like a stake in the game. And I think it was really disappointing that people couldn't just say, even I feel like even saying like I don't have a comment on that, like I'm not supposed to talk, even just saying like I'm not supposed to talk about this
Yeah.
because there's no because we don't know enough. Like even
Yeah.
to say I don't know enough about the situation to be able to comment is a better comment than saying, "Well,
It's
we're just
just
here to
noise.
race.
We're here to
We're
race.
just here to
Yeah.
race and we don't I don't focus on all of that like noise and distraction. I'm just here to do my job." Like
Yeah.
it's impacting your sport, which is your job, and you
Yeah.
do have a responsibility to say something, even if it's saying you can't say anything, like, that means more, and then you have drivers like Lewis,
Mhm.
who once again has to put the conscience of this sport on his back.
His he's putting the morality into the sport. Him and
Like,
Zach Brown are the only two people who really made a comment this
George
weekend.
actually George had, like, a playing both sides comment where he was like, I don't really, focus on the noise and the, talk, but I do think that there needed to be more transparency and like we and I think he said something like the demographic of our sport is changing and I think like
Yeah.
we everyone deserves to know what's going on.
But
So it was kind of a 50-50 on George, but it
but
just
even
is
though
really
like a
disappointing.
good who are the PR people and why were they like you had to have known that these questions were coming this weekend. You
Yeah.
had to have known. Why were they not just like here's what you should say?
Mhm.
Say that.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of annoying. But it's
It's
also
just like
annoying
a
because it's like
running.
you guys are all fully grown men. Be fucking for real. And it's just like it
Yeah.
makes me nervous. I'm like you want people to be like I want like we saw from Lando last year, right? Where he kind of stood up for that one female interviewer where he was like, you have the best questions. And then that guy was like, no, she doesn't. He was like, who the fuck are you? Like we need more moments of these faces of the sport, like advocating. It's not even like they have to like point fingers and be like, yeah, Christian did something wrong. All they have to
Right.
do
Totally.
is ask for transparency. That's
Yes.
all they have to do. It's not like they have to crucify Christian. They don't have to point fingers. All we want is just an answer to what happened.
Yeah. And the or just talk about like, you know, I think a lot of them, their comments almost could have been okay if they said, like, we're here to drive. We don't want to focus on these conversations, but we know they're happening and it impacts our sport as a
Mhm.
whole. And so, because of that, like, we don't want to have to focus on this. So,
Yeah.
we need to put it to rest. Like, we
Yeah.
need more
Yeah.
information to come out so that it isn't taking over the sport where we are technically here to drive. Like, that's our
Exactly.
job. Like, I think that it might have been like they had the somewhat of the right idea, but they just go about it
In the
in
wrong way. Yeah.
such the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I think we heard a lot from our community about just how disappointed people were. And we had specifically a handful of people saying, I know you guys are big Danny fans and you ride or die for him, but like, what are your thoughts on his comments? And just the easy, simple answer is disappointed. Like,
Mhm.
we love him, we're a fan, but there is a fact of being a fan of someone, but also not enjoying like what they say and not supporting
Yeah.
how they act.
Yeah. I think
It's
it's
not all or
just
nothing.
yeah, it comes down to like being critical and like you said in our discussion with Izzy is that like we can't just walk away from the sport or our favorites. Like we want to firmly stand here and ask them to be better. We want to force them to be better, and I
Yep.
think that it's just to be like, okay, well, I'm not supporting Danny anymore. Like, okay, who is that really serving? He's not going to learn from that. granted, I don't think he's gonna learn regardless, but, like,
Yeah.
it still helps to be vocal about your disappointment towards your faves, without being like, "Okay, canceled, never speaking about them ever again," you know?
But yeah. Yep. And there's a lot of discussion out there about cancellation in general and cancel culture and how that's not going to help people learn or be
Right.
better.
Yeah. And I
Because at
think
that point, you absolve them from ever having to be better
right.
because you just completely dismiss them and don't advocate for them to change. You just advocate for no one to pay attention anymore.
Yeah.
And that's not helpful.
Yeah. And it's also not lost on me that all of this discussion was happening in Saudi Arabia, where women only received the right to drive in 2018.
Yeah.
So while we're
And the
seeing
day
some
before
progress,
International Women's Day.
International Women's Day, we've got the first F1 Academy race. It's all just like, it was like one after another. And it's just like, God, this sport is so fucking disappointing sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that
Yeah.
and still fight for a better way
Yeah.
forward.
Like, I think the thing that was, like it's just when you get these, like, 2 sides of things that just shows the, like, the polar opposites of the 2 actions is when drivers are, on one hand, saying, "We don't pay attention to this noise, it's a distraction, we're just here to race," and then legitimately the next day say, "Happy International Women's Day to my mom and all the strong women around me, like, I wouldn't be who I am without you," like, it's not adding up,
Yeah.
and, like, the audacity of you to do that, but, like,
In this, like
it's
almost in
just
the same breath, like it
it's
is.
it's like when people say, like, I'll explain to you the concept of sexual harassment. Would you want someone to do that to your daughter or your sister or your mother?" It's like, why does it have to be personal for
Yeah.
people to care? Why
Yeah.
does it have to be something that directly impacts your family? Why would you not care about it happening to anyone?
100%.
That it was really annoying, and then, like, all the teams posting International Women's Day and all this stuff, and I'm just like, "This
He
is just
card
such
putting all
lip service."
the women in the tiniest little font on the side of their car, and it was just like that. And that's the problem I feel like sometimes, and I think you and I talked a lot about this as well in the interview, where it's like the teams utilize female audience to gain attention and
Mhm.
get support and money, but when it's time to walk the walk, they fall flat on their faces, and
Yeah,
it's just like it's so disheartening to see because you're like,
yeah.
thanks so much. Why don't you actually make some change on this International Women's Day and demand transparency? Or people aren't going to do media, or people aren't going to, like participate in certain events within the weekend. Like, actually stand up and like show solidarity for the women on your teams, because I'm sure they're also wondering what the fuck is happening.
Mhm. Yeah. So, I felt like that was just an important sidebar for us to have before we jump into our podcast that's dedicated to this sport. Um, Obviously, Nicole and I mean, throughout that conversation, I'm sure that you guys listening can hear it, like, that we are deeply disappointed in the sport. But like we said, we're not, it's to go back to what Nicole was talking about this interview we had, we said that we've fought really hard to have a seat at the table and we're starting to see progress. We're seeing F1 Academy take off. We're seeing teams gear content and clothing and things towards a female audience. Is it perfect? No, not yet. But we've fought really hard to have a seat at the table. And with situations like these, it can be easy to call for a boycott, to call for, like, not watching the sport anymore, not supporting anymore, just being so disappointed that you leave. And I don't think that's helpful. We have a seat at the table and we are not going to let them take that seat away from us. We're going to nail it to the floor. We are going to sit in it and we are going to demand it to change, the institution to change, the people to change. We're going to demand that our seat at the table remains and more are opened up. And that doesn't come from just walking away. It comes from making our space known and being loud. So
Yeah.
that's what we're going to do. And that's why we're continuing to have this podcast and continue to have these conversations and still do it in the way that is real to us, which is having fun with it and being lighthearted, but also being able to have the serious conversations and being able to look at it with a critical eye when needed. So
Exactly.
that's that.
Amen. All right, back to F1, back to this weekend.
So I mean, it started off with a bang.
What car?
It kind of started off with a rupture.
A rupture of sorts. I literally,
Carlos Sainz went through free practice, 1 and 2, and then woke up on Friday morning here. I guess here it was Friday morning. I guess it was there too, huh?
yeah, had to have been.
And said, "Surprise! I have appendicitis, and I need to have my appendix taken out before it actually ruptures, and I won't be doing the
I won't
race."
be doing things this weekend. Count me
No, and
out for doing things this weekend.
so we had okay, this is something that I think is really cool, is that we've talked about the fact that this, for the first time in history, we have an F1 season without a rookie on the grid.
Hmm.
Everyone that's driving has driven in at least one Formula One season before, except this weekend we actually got a rookie on the grid. Ollie Bierman took Carlos Sainz's place and drove for Ferrari alongside Charles Leclerc, which was very fun to watch.
It was so fun because it was actually fun to have someone to root for. Like,
Yes.
I was like, I don't care where he ends up. Like, this is such a fun experience for him. Like, he must be so fucking nervous. One,
Mhm.
two, like, I just want to see him finish this race. Like,
Yeah.
I will be rooting for him the entire time. And I love how surprised I was by his top 10 finish. He got points
I
in his
know.
F1 race. Like, that was so incredible to me. I felt like everyone this weekend was really an Ollie fan.
Everyone was an Ollie fan
We
for
all
sure.
liked that, that's for sure.
Everyone liked
It was
that. Yeah,
so
it was
cute
so fun.
to see
It
all
was
of
so
his F2 counterparts, like, watching him in qualifying and be like, "Oh my god, he's ahead of Charles, like, he's doing so well," and it was just, like, so sweet, and I'm like,
I
"They're my
know.
friends, I love it."
It was really sweet. But it does beg the question, what sort of chaos is coming?
Tough times, tough
Because
times.
we know the last time that an appendicitis was
Mhm.
on the grid
Struck the
was Alex Albon in 2022
Mhm.
had his appendix taken out, and during that race weekend, Nick DeVries
Stepped in.
stepped in and raced for him, had a great race.
He got
Everyone was like,
points.
"Wow, we gotta see Nick DeVries on the grid next year." So what happens is Nick DeVries gets a spot on the grid the next year on
Mhm.
AlphaTauri, does not do well, gets replaced by Daniel
One
Ricciardo,
Daniel Ricciardo.
who then breaks his wrist. So then Liam Lawson gets a spot on the grid, and then Danny comes back, and now it's Danny and Yuki. But like, who's to say?
Who's
Who's
to
to
say
say
what
like
happens?
what's gonna happen here?
Or are we closing a loop? Where this is
Right.
it's like one appendicitis, we're ending with another appendicitis. We're
Mhm.
closing that timeline out. Or is this
Or does
starting
the
a
past
domino
repeat
effect?
itself and it's
Because it's also scary. Keep in mind, we have 13 drivers out of contract at
I
the end of
know.
this year. So it's a real tough look to have an F2 driver come in who's, he's maybe top of the field, but like it's only been two races, right? So to have him come in his first race, only do one practice session and qualifying and then a race
Mhm.
and score seventh his first time out. People should be scared. People should be
People
very
should be
they should be
scared.
worried about their jobs. I'll tell you that.
They should, for sure, and I think that what was really funny was Carlos in the paddock just like, don't forget about me,
Why was
I'm
he
here."
there? Like,
Because he saw
sir.
that the last time that this happened, he's like, "Don't replace me." He's like, "Don't you
He's
dare
like got his little
do
cane.
this
He's
to
like
me."
hobbling through. He's like, I'm totally fine. I'm not
He's
in
like,
pain. Don't
"I'm
worry.
right here, this is my seat, actually. Ollie, I'm watching you. Don't get too comfortable in there.
Like
This is my
behind
seat."
he's like lurking over his engineer's shoulder, being like, hmm,
Well, that's what he's like, "I'm helping on the pit wall." He's
yeah,
about to be Ollie's engineer, so that if Ollie does well, Carlos can say, "That was me."
that was all me.
Like, it's so funny, but I also wonder, like, does that make Liam Lawson nervous that
Mhm.
now Ollie is like the rookie that everyone is looking at. Like, I feel like, next year, if like, oh, we want a rookie, maybe they would all be like, think originally they would be like, oh, Liam was the last one in the
Yeah.
car and he stuck around. He's being such a good sport. He was great. Let's put him in. But now Ollie did like kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And now people are going to think about him.
Yeah.
So is Liam like, damn, I thought I was the cool rookie, but now it's Ollie. Also, tough weekend for Liam to be watching another rookie out there like getting a shot that he had at one point, and also just watching Danny be an absolute clown. Just a joker.
I can't keep supporting him. Both after his stupid ass comments on the Christian Horner situation and then him finishing almost dead last. Like it's really Daniel, Daniel. It's a tough look. And you know
Yeah.
what? I'll say this. I think I don't feel confident that Danny's racing in Formula 1 next year.
With
Like
more and more rookies coming in and showing that they kind of have the stuff, and we've seen an increase of teams looking towards new blood and like
mhm.
new talent, and Danny being up there as at the older end,
Mhm.
I'm not feeling great
He's
about
at
it
the
either.
older end and he's not even performing that well. So it's like,
Yeah.
baby, what are you doing here? And
Yeah. I
again,
feel like
guys,
this should be his
you
farewell tour.
know that that's my man, but I have to be objective about this and like
Yeah.
I can't keep defending him and I can't keep defending his choices. So, he's in jail. Like still from last week, he's still in jail.
All right,
Uh
into the race itself.
Okay, I was obsessed. Well, obviously not obsessed because Lance is on my team.
Your
But
team had a rough week, dude. A rough week.
rough go at it this week. Not excited to tally up all the points. However, Lance hitting the wall and then his engineer being like, "Can you bring it back?" And he goes, "No, I'm in the fucking wall." Like it was,
I know.
he was just like so done. He's like, "No, I'm in the fucking wall." Like he's like, "Use your
It's
fucking
so
brain."
funny.
It was very funny to me, and I was like, Lance is so over this. He's like,
He's
I don't give
so
a
over
shit
it.
anymore.
No, he doesn't. He does not care.
And we saw quite a few penalties this
Mhm.
weekend.
Classic.
Perez received a 5-second penalty for an unsafe release in the
Mhm.
pit lane. K Mag received two 10-second penalties.
I think they were 2 22nd, weren't they?
No, it was two 10 seconds, 20-second total.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, you're right. It was 20
Um,
total.
So he received one for going. Actually, so Perez received 10 because it was unsafe release for K Mag. And then also he went off track, gained an advantage around Yuki,
Yes.
which is interesting because we watched in real time this new rule that went into effect this year around penalties in the instance in which you go off track and gain an advantage.
Yep.
And basically, the idea around this is that the bigger loss in time penalty, it used to be 5 seconds, now it's 10, is that it's less likely anyone will consciously accept this time penalty in an expectation that they gain more than they lose.
Yep.
And we saw like a recent example of this last year where George at Monza, he took the 5-second penalty for passing Ocon off track as he felt it would result in less of a time loss than being stuck behind him. And so this year they switched to 10 seconds and Magnussen was the first driver to be hit with this penalty. But it
Mhm.
really wasn't enough. He effectively bought the track position he needed. Um, so like he was able to just go be ahead 10 like more than 10 seconds and it didn't actually matter because
Yeah.
like it didn't impact him at all. And so Alex, who ended up 11th, warned that it's logical for teams in the back half of the grid fighting for scraps off the table of the top 5 to be considered to consider such a strategy regularly. He says basically you guarantee your teammate points for a 10-second penalty. Why would you not do that every race? I don't think 5 to 10 seconds is correct. It needs to be a you must return the position and just leave it at that. Any
Mm-hmm.
team would do the same thing. If only 10 seconds you sacrifice one driver for a guaranteed points, maybe the top teams won't do it, but the midfield teams who need to take any points at any opportunity will do it every single time. So
Yeah.
kind of an interesting take. They tried to make it better. I don't think we're going to see that actually play out the way that FIA wanted to this year. But then also in terms of KMAG, VCARB submitted him for unsportsmanlike conduct post race. So we'll see as they review that if he receives another penalty.
Yeah.
But again, he didn't score points. So it's like, does it really, really matter in the end? Because
Right.
he
But he
drove
kept
so
them back.
defensively for Nico. So for
Yeah.
Haas to score a point this week was big for them. And they, he took that 10-second penalty and was like, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah.
Yuki also received a post race penalty.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It just came out. I think it had to do with some sort of passing situation. I don't remember the specifics, but we'll see how that he dropped down under Logan. So I think he finished 15th instead of 14th this week.
Got it. Well, doesn't do anything for him in terms of
No,
standings.
again, he still finished above Danny, so good for Yuki. But other than that, no.
Yeah. And then, yeah, this next bullet point George being a narc. Are you or are you not a fucking
A
narc?
knock. Like a cop? Yeah, a knock. That's what I said.
NARC. Knock.
So basically, George, we heard his radio right out of the go. He goes, Lando with the jump off there. He's basically like pointing at the screen, Leo DiCaprio style, and he was like, hey, false start on Lando's part. Lando did not receive a penalty for this, and Naomi Schiff was basically saying that the FIA took sympathy on him. She goes, I don't know how I feel about that. Clearly, nobody else felt strongly about it, enough about it to push it. For us or anyone else judging the sport, when this happens next time, will they have the same sympathy or how do we judge it? That's her question. And that's totally fair. I think,
Yeah. The FIA is notorious for not being very black and white in their decision
no,
making. Like
no.
it just is like, how are they feeling today? What kind of mood are they in?
Who who are they standing this week? How are they
Yeah.
seeing the benefits of that? So it's really just like, okay, which I think is one of the reasons why people are so frustrated with the current FIA is that's like, what are the rules and how are we following them? Because
Yeah.
at week race to race, week to week, it is vastly different depending on who
Always
you are.
changing.
Speaking of changing, always changing, let's get into our week 2 point system. 42 minutes.
On that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hey. Okay. So let's bring up points for.
No, it's 25 because Max did not get the fastest lap. Charles did.
Oh, right. Okay. So 25.
So Max got 25.
Yep.
Sergio got 18.
Mm-hmm.
Charles got 16.
How fun.
Piastri got 12. I like how Piastri is spelled with a Y.
Is that not it?
It's
I
an
was
I at the end.
I was wondering why it looked so wrong when I was writing it.
Alonso got 10. My team kind of cleaned up this week on the
Yeah,
points
they
on
did.
track, so thank God. George got 8. Bierman or Signs, will give you signs on that. 6. Lando
Okay.
got 4. Lewis got 2. And Nico got 1.
All right. Woo, look at you.
Let's go. I needed that.
Popped up.
Because I know on the off track, I'm not going to do so hot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, you have Max and Sergio, so like you're pretty solid for on track this year. I just need my team to like clean up P3 through 10 every
yeah.
week. Like I
Yeah.
just need
Yeah.
3 through 10 to just like be on my side. All right, let's go through off track. I started doing this
Okay.
as I went through, but let's go. Let's
Okay,
start with,
thank you so much for giving me Max on a non-team fit.
of course.
His one white t-shirt, wasn't sure if we wanted to count it or not, but I thank
It's
God.
not a team polo, so I'm
Thank you
giving
so
it to
much.
him. Okay, who had the cold plunge pick?
Botez. He wasn't shirtless, but he did have a cold plunge.
It's okay. It's cold plunge. That's all that
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah.
Okay, more non-team picks. Fits. Obviously, wait, did Carlos wear it? Wait, or that's Ollie, I guess.
They
Or
both
both.
they were both wearing their Ferrari gear.
Damn. Okay.
You gave
George probably wasn't, but
Charles was because he wore those fugly ass pants.
he was what? Oh, wearing a non-team fit.
He was wearing those fugly ass pants.
I should have like I should have a Charles specific category that's just like where's the ugliest pants you've ever seen? -5.
Okay, yeah, Nico wore one. Joe had to have worn one.
I know
A
I'm not
non-team fit.
seeing, and I'm looking at George and I can't find. You know what's really disappointing is that Kim Illman is always the one that has the photos that I need. So I have to go to him and I hate that. Hate that journey for me, but I have to do it. Yeah, Lewis coming in looking like he watched
Oh,
Dune.
so good. I was obsessed with it.
George did wear team polo.
Wow.
Bummer. But I guess that was just one day. I don't know. This is tough. This is tough. I can't have eyes on everyone all the time, you know? Danny wore a non-team outfit,
Mhm.
which is nice. Okay, I did already have that in here. Yeah, Esteban wore his wrinkled linen shirt. What the heck?
What?
Oh, that's Yuki.
Yeah, Yuki showed up looking like he belonged in a 90s boy band.
Oh my god, I did not see Joe's Dior fit. It's so good. I gotta be better about checking these
I know,
throughout
same.
the weekend. Wag's attending the race. This is where I gotta bring up the Wag account. Alonzo's girlfriend was there. I don't really think anyone else was there.
There's Trap. I didn't see any this week. It looks like you have one for Gasly though. What did you see? Where did you see?
what did you see?
What did you see?
What has she seen?
What do you know?
What did I see? I don't know what I saw. I'm gonna take that out because I don't know what I saw.
Yeah.
Because I think these have to be like grid posts too. I think like
Yeah.
stories is tough. Did anyone wear their own merch?
I don't think so.
I think why do I have a -1 on Gassy? I guess he did. What is this coming from? I don't know where I saw any of this.
Yeah, what are you trying to sabotage me? What's going on?
I don't know. I'm not meaning to, truly.
Someone in our DMs was asking if we should include Martin Garrix's Lando's wag. Yeah, she was like, Lando and his wag. This must count in your F1 game, right? Because Lando did post a photo with Martin Garrix. Now, are we using that? Because I know we have one that says attends a Martin Garrix concert.
No, I think they have to like go to a show.
That's
Like
what
they
I
have
was
to
saying.
go.
I was like, are we counting that? Like, how are we kind of contributing that?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think they have to like physically go to a show. Special helmet, don't know. Post about
Nope.
F1 Academy.
Now, here's where I would like to call into contention. Does it count if they posted on the teams? Because all the teams kind of posted about F1 Academy this weekend.
Um
Because Lewis didn't post that on his own feed. It was just a video that he made on the Mercedes account.
the only reason I want to count it is because Lewis went to the race. And I think that's even better
You
than posting.
That's fine. I will give you that for that reason and that reason only, but not because
Thank you.
he made that video because he was just there.
But he made the effort to go.
He did. He did
You know
go.
what? I'm gonna look through F1 Academy. I'm gonna see if anyone else showed up. Okay, Danny showed up.
Danny showed up?
Yeah. F1
Wow.
F1 Academy grid post. Oh, that's me.
Ah, damn it. Okay, but you know
Oh,
what?
Yuki was there. Yuki was there.
I know James Vowles was there. He posted on his own grid. He was like so happy to go to the F1 Academy race.
What an absolute saint he is.
Gem of a human.
Literally a gem. Perez was there. Oh, there's Lando. Wow, I'm kind of proud of everyone. I'm feeling very proud. They might stink a lot of the time, but they kind of did something right this weekend. And nobody announced a team switch this week. So
Nope.
let's see where we're at. And there you
It's
have it, folks. 55-50. Those are your points for this week.
okay.
This is
We're
such
cranking.
a TBD, not real draft for us this year because I don't know if we're counting any of these correctly.
I love it though
Can't have
because
eyes anywhere.
it's so fun. Yeah, I feel like people like if anyone is listening, please, if you see anything that's related to our off track, if it is a cold plunge, if it is a shirtless selfie, if it is a non team outfit pic, like send it to our DMs
Yep.
so that like yeah, we need you guys to hold us accountable. We need you
We
to
need
kind of
you.
be our eyes and ears on social media about this. So like doesn't matter even if you go then to our story and see that we've posted it. Please just set if you see something, say something. That is our motto. Okay. See something, say something, send it to our DMs.
Okay, Charles was there too. So I gotta give myself that. He did a co-post with F1 Academy.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. My man. The bar's on the ground, men. All right, the bar is on the ground for you
It's in
guys.
hell, but you know what? It's fine.
All right, so that's that. Let's get into some other F1 news because we must discuss Rainbow Road.
Yeah, we have to. What the fuck's
Like,
kind of
what's
going on with the
happening?
Spawn Con on the new Saudi Arabia track? Like, Saudi money has infiltrated the driver Spawn Con category so deeply. Like, get your bag, babes. But please know, I'm judging you.
Yeah,
I'm judging you deeply.
yeah,
But also, like, where was our call? Why couldn't we capitalize on that
yeah.
Spawn Con money?
Give me the
Hello?
money.
Like, we need it.
Show me the money. We'll get people to go to Saudi.
We'll shell out, it's fine.
Our whole
No,
community will be there next year if you just pay us a little money.
this track is absolutely insane, and, like, if it gets approved, I will be genuinely surprised because why the fuck do they have a launch pad? Like, why do they have a launch ramp 20 stories high into the first turn? Are you fucking
Literally.
serious right now? Like, that's insane behavior. And all of the drivers who are like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. Uh, they're probably like, well, I won't be in the sport by the time this actually gets gets built. So
That's
like,
why they
I
have,
don't
like,
fucking
Valtteri
care.
doing it.
They're like, I don't
Like,
give a shit. Actually, what happens to these poor kids after me?
this is some Samantha Jones PR shit going on. Like, Samantha Jones is actually the publicist behind the new Saudi track.
Like it's insane. Like it's fine. I just will be really intrigued to see if it actually gets built.
She's gonna have the Saudi circuit hunk. That's just gonna get everyone to go. I'll,
Okay,
I'll volunteer Nick as tribute to be a Saudi circuit hunk.
I'm screaming. Wow. Sex and the City 2, the movie. Wow, incredible, incredible film. Um, it's just yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared for that track. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say about that. You know who's not quitting though? Who's not quitting the good fight?
Never back down, never what?
Felipe Massa. Never ending saga of him being upset losing a world champion driver championship to Lewis Hamilton. He has now officially filed to sue the FIA to overturn that
Imagine
decision.
being that petty.
Irrelevant, petty.
Actually, kind of.
I actually I can personally relate to Felipe Massa and that level, but yeah, it's come out. He's officially suing. I don't know the terms in which he's suing the FIA. I just kind of saw the headline about that, but
I'm pretty sure
give it up, Felipe.
that's it.
Give it up.
Why be upset when you can just have fun,
You're
man?
irrelevant. We're not adding you to our design on Drivers Champions. We're like, just get over it.
I think he's already on there.
Stop trying to make it happen, okay?
Yeah, Lewis is like, they can't take another from me.
Yeah, no, Lewis. I think Lewis will actually kill himself, to be honest. So
That's
if that
gonna send him right
happens,
over the edge.
blood is on your hands, Felipe.
One
If
eight
this
hundred
happens,
Good Samaritan.
seek
Give
help.
Lewis give Lewis a preemptive call if this goes.
Like,
Like, check on your friends, check on Lewis. We're gonna need eyes, all eyes on Lewis. You know what we haven't talked about in a long time, or like, not that we should, but you know what I forgot about?
what?
Angela.
Well,
Where is she at
she's
these
just
days?
off doing her own thing.
I know, but I'm like, I feel like that was like a big drama thing,
I know
and then like
we should do a follow up next week
no
and see
follow
where
up.
she is.
I was just thinking about all like
I think we saw
we
her in the paddock recently, towards the end of last year.
okay.
I feel like we saw her
I
in a
haven't seen him with another
non-work,
trainer at all,
yeah,
so
in
that's
a
interesting.
non-work capacity. He's just posting shirtless gym selfies himself. He's not training with
So
anyone.
interesting.
He's a
Well,
lone wolf now.
it made me think of it because I said we are gonna need eyes on Lewis.
Yeah,
So I think we're gonna need
eyes
Angela
on me.
back to have eyes, all eyes on Lewis. So I don't know. Also, okay, another drama, changing of the guards, top driver parting ways with an institutional figure in their lives. What's happening with Max and Christian?
Yeah, the tea
What's
there is
happening?
so interesting, because obviously we already talked a little bit about how we were disappointed and there's no real update on the Christian Horner situation. However, we did talk a little bit about last week about
However, we lied.
we talked a little bit about how, we haven't really got any transparency, and this kind of is a breeding ground for speculation, for rumors. And the rumors on the circuit right now are that Max's camp, so Helmet, Yos, were responsible for the leaks.
Proud of you for
What?
pronouncing it Yos and not Jos.
Well, sometimes I hear people say Jose and some people say Yos, so I don't really know. I always thought it was Yos, but then I heard someone say Jose one time and I was like, okay, is it Jose? Like, I've been kind of gaslighting myself. So, anyway, so Yos apparently has been kind of trying to take charge of Red Bull, and Helmet was responsible for leaking the Google Drive. Now, I saw a tweet that said,
Allegedly.
allegedly,
Allegedly.
and I saw a tweet that was like, man, if someone who is older than the country of Pakistan knows how to work a Google Drive, you should be promoting him, not firing him. And that was so fucking funny to me, because I was like, yeah, imagine Helmut Marko, who's on death's doorstep, trying to fucking figure out how to share a Google Drive. It's a really funny image in my head. But allegedly, he has been suspended. He will not be at the race in Australia. And then Yos was suspended this weekend and he was not at the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So there is some interesting tensions happening at Red Bull right now. And the talk of the town is that Max is threatening to leave Red Bull if something is not done about Christian. And there are two camps. One, people are like, I mean, I guess, but other people are like, I mean, Max is winning. Why would he leave a winning team? It'd be one thing
Yeah.
if they were like losing. Um, but he is light years ahead of the competition. Why the fuck would he leave? And like, I'm in that camp. Like, it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
Um, but Max has basically said, I'm not leaving, but anything is possible. So he's basically said, like, I don't plan to leave right now, but like, I'm
Yeah.
not 100%
And
certain
did you
that
see
what my
Christian's comments
future.
about it?
No, what did he say?
He said something like, "A team is bigger than a driver. Like, a
Mhm.
team is a team," and, like, basically saying that they don't necessarily
Perez
need
is
Max.
like praying. He's like, "Yes, Max leave, Max leave, Max leave."
Perez is actually leaking everything.
He's hoping to get that number 1 podium spot. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. we're still watching it, obviously, but this is bigger. It feels bigger than just this investigation. It
which is
feels,
crazy
yeah,
because
it
that
feels
felt
like
big
it
as it
runs
is.
really, really deep,
Yeah,
regardless of what happened. So interesting stuff. And
kind
the
of
woman
crazy.
who has filed the complaint against Christian is set to appeal the ruling. So this is far from over. We'll see kind of where this goes from here, but that's your little update on the Red Bull situation.
Kind of wild. Kind of wild. I can't even imagine Max Verstappen merch that's not Red Bull. I mean, the only team that I can kind of see Max Verstappen merch is McLaren because it's the orange.
It's already orange. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess I've seen Max merch that's orange, so like I guess he could go to McLaren and it wouldn't feel different, but like I literally can't picture
Mm-mm.
Max with like Mercedes branding
Mm-mm.
or like Ferrari branding.
Would be crazy.
It'd
Toto's
be
been kind of
insane.
chomping at the bit with this news that Max might leave. Like Toto's like, obviously we'd love to have him. George is like, I'll fucking kill myself. But actually he was like, oh yeah, I've been with Lewis. I welcome a challenge, which was kind of petty of him to be like, oh, Lewis isn't like an actual competitor anymore. So like,
He's
let's
such a
bring in Max.
he's such a little snot.
Okay, shut the fuck up, George. One of the greatest of all times. You should be honored to be racing with Lewis.
Yeah, that's the TBD if we're gonna see Max Verstappen merch with different branding. But you know who we will see new merch from?
A certain
Alexander Albon.
Alex Albon.
He's got
New
some good stuff
AA23
in the
merch
works.
coming out this week. Next week?
And
Next week.
we have a quote from our graphic designer, the best graphic designer in the world, Riley Gearman, who said, well, actually, she posted a meme and she edited the wording to say, finally, some good fucking graphic design. So I feel like, Alex, good for you.
If you
He
got the
did
seal of approval from Riley, then
huge.
that's huge.
I don't even get that. And
No, we get the opposite of that when we go on Canva. She gets
when
mad
I
at
do
us.
my best work on Canva, I get eaten alive.
Riley says this is ass.
I
The
was like, you
audacity
dare
of you
me.
to think that you could do something without me.
It's a personal attack on Riley if I ever even dare to open Canva.
And it's
Um,
not even just with like when we're creating F1 stuff. Like she'll see something that we made for like an event on another thing and she'll be like, why didn't you ask me? We're like, Riley, this is not your job.
love you, Riley.
We love you so
I
much.
can't wait for the text we're gonna get when she gets to this point and be like, okay, roast me on the podcast. Why don't you? We
It's been a
love you.
while.
After I just said though that you were the greatest graphic designer in the world.
Yeah.
So
We
relax.
set the standard. We
Preemptively relax.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Someone
he
else who
did
can relax.
no, he did have I want to talk about his merch a
Okay,
little bit.
sorry.
He posted, which I really appreciated this about him because I don't think we ever really see this from any driver that does merch. Is he posted a little graphic design explainer post where he showed kind of the why
Hmm.
behind the design that they chose. It's a double A, so there's a regular letter A with an A in the Thai script from how you
Hmm.
write Alex, and that's in the design, which I think is really really cool. And I just think that it was really fun for him to like do like, here's why we're doing this way versus just like putting out another
I
item of
mean,
clothing with your logo on it.
he saw Riley's work. He said, I mean, if two girls are doing stuff like that, we got to be doing stuff
We
like
got to
that.
be stepping it up.
We got to be stepping it up.
Step it up. And like I think that maybe I would appreciate Enchante more if I got explainers of the why behind everything, cuz I feel like they have cool designs, but I'm just like it feels like you're just like slapping designs on things and like putting it out,
Hmm.
and I want to know like what is it about this that like is cool and
Yeah.
interesting and new? Like why did you decide that this was what you wanted to put out?
Yeah. I agree. Someone else who can settle down. is
To bring it
Sergio
back
Perez.
to Felipe and then bring it back forward again, someone else who can settle down.
Is Perez, because obviously we've seen him perform. He's been in second place the past two races. The rumors of him being replaced preemptively before the end of the season are likely to end. He has been doing the best that he can. I mean, no one's expecting him to beat Max. So I think second is next best. He's just, I don't think he's a very good qualifier. But
Mhm.
he always ends up, kind of pulling it back in at the race level.
Yeah.
So Perez, congratulations. You live to see another season at Red Bull.
Potentially, we'll see.
Potentially.
After
Um,
2 races, that's where our opinion lies.
but someone whose future is a little up in the air is Alonso. So his contract is up at the end of this season, and it's apparently no secret that Aston Martin wants to re sign him for 2025. But Mike Crack admits that Fernando has to first decide if he wants to continue in Formula One. So who's to say? Maybe the rumors around the paddock is that Alonso is maybe getting a little tired of F1 and he's thinking about retiring. But
Well, Aston Martin's not doing that well, and he
yeah,
went over there specifically so that he could get back to, like, trying to win another
win.
championship. Like, I think he wants, like, set a record to be, like, the oldest person ever to win a championship, who knows? But if I know Alonso, which I don't on a personal level, but
If I know my buddy Alonso,
if I think I know Alonso, and I think I do, he is absolutely sticking around until the final hour
the bitter
to see
end.
what happens
Yeah.
because he's gonna see all the unrest about Red Bull and Mercedes right now without Lewis in the
Mhm.
seat, and he's gonna say like, "Okay, well, if Max goes to Mercedes, there's a Red Bull seat open," and he is just absolutely going to see where he can sink his little claws in
He's sneaky,
somewhere else.
sneaky. He's
If
sneaky.
anyone is just he is sneaky. He,
Mhm.
like I feel like he just, like, worms his way into these, like, situations that are just like, "How did you get here?" But I think he is
Yeah.
plotting. He's
Yeah.
plotting something right now.
And I
So we'll
mean,
see.
kind of related, but Lewis was recently quoted saying like, "Listen, we can't fault Red Bull for being so good." He was like, "It was Michael Schumacher, then it was Red Bull, and then it was me, and now it's Red Bull again." He's like, "This is just kind of how it happens now, and no one should be mad at Max for just dominating because like it's not really his fault that they're so good and everyone else is so bad." And so
Yeah.
I appreciate that from Lewis to be able to kind of say that about his rival. And Lewis, always the good guy. We love him.
We are gonna sorely miss him when his time does come to leave the
Hmm.
sport because that will be a really big hole.
All right, let's talk F1 Academy because it was the first race
What?
of the season, and I know
Well,
you
the
and I
first 2
both
races of the season.
two
First
races.
race weekend.
Yes, we both watched a little bit of it. I missed the first race, but I caught the second one. Tell me a little bit about this streaming situation.
What I think is really interesting about what F1 Academy is doing this year versus last year is that F1 TV and YouTube and X, formerly known as Twitter, are
FKA
all
Twitter.
streaming F1 Academy. So anyone without access to F1 Academy's national carrier, which is Sky in the UK, will be able to stream on YouTube and Twitter. And I think that it was so nice because you can see it on F1 TV because that's like it's Sky Sports on there. But for me, I missed the
Hmm.
race, one of the races. And so I was like, okay, I need to catch up. So I was able to just go to YouTube and watch it. And it was like so nice to have that accessibility to it, to be able to sit down and watch a race of these women where last year it was like pulling teeth to figure out how to find it.
Hmm.
So loved that. The race was a little bit messy, but it was also the first of the season. It
Yep.
was in Saudi Arabia, which is like a notoriously difficult track.
Hmm.
But altogether, I think it was really fun to watch. I think the commentators did a great job.
Yeah, thank God it
It
was
was
not Danica Patrick.
thank God. Yeah. It was just exciting and it was fun and the cars looked sick.
Hmm.
They have much more fun car designs in F1
Yes.
Academy than they do in F1, and it was really, really fun to watch. Like, it just felt very, like, dynamic
Yeah.
on the track. So there was some
Yeah, huge drama this
big
weekend. All
drama
right,
on the
ladies.
second race. So, I mean, in the whole race, there was a couple crashes, a couple people, getting pushed off track and getting penalties and kind of messy. But the big drama came because Dorian Pin
Mhm.
won the race.
Mhm.
She won both races, but in the second race, she didn't stop when the race was over. She didn't know that the race had ended. So on the cool down lap, when there's a speed limit, like you're not supposed to go over a certain speed, she was going full speed. And
Yeah.
she actually sent a radio message to her team asking how many laps were left as she was going full speed on the cool down lap. She's calling over the radio. She's like, how many laps left? Nobody's like, the race is over. You want, but like also, I feel like usually they cross the checkered flag and the team media is like P1, P1, or
Yeah,
like
right.
whatever
Right.
place. So no one just said anything to her and
They
just
just
let
left
her.
her hanging.
That actually brought her down to 9. And I was reading an article on the race that said she actually is probably overqualified for F1 Academy, but this will be a really good year for her to practice and like stake her claim on being the best.
Yeah.
And that it's pretty likely that Mercedes is inevitably going to move her up the ladder after this year. So excited to see where that journey takes her.
Love that.
Um, but yeah, so fun to watch them do their thing. Being
I
great to
know
see all the
someone
support.
someone was like, yeah, Abby Pulling is really the only Alpine team member who's going to be seeing podiums this season.
Yeah, probably.
They're like, they better start showing up for Abby because Pierre and Ocon certainly won't be seeing that the steps of the podium this season.
I know. Do you think Pierre is just absolutely livid that
Yeah,
he changed
probably.
teams?
But
He's like
again, like,
he's like, "I'm not even with a friend. I fucking hate my teammate, and I'm not doing well."
but I mean, like, in terms of like what him being back at AlphaTauri, like,
True.
they're also not doing well.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I don't know. I think it's just tough
Tough.
luck. It's tough luck for Pierre this season.
Yeah. But I don't know. I was just watching F1 Academy, and I was, like, so emotional. I was like, "This is so cool to watch and
Yeah.
so fun having it be accessible." And I was just like, "I can't wait to hopefully one day have kids, and especially if I have a daughter, to like raise her watching that
Hmm.
series." I think it's just gonna be so cool and fun, and like it's just really special. And I think there's always improvements that can be made. I think obviously this race was a little messy as their first one,
Yeah.
but they can come back from there, and it's just about tightening things up. But there's always things that can be done. But just looking
It's
at it
so,
objectively
yeah.
about like what is happening is so special and so cool. And it's just like I just was like really feeling emotional about it.
Yeah. It's also like it's so exciting. I feel like this past year, women's professional sports in general have just been having such a moment. And so I am so excited to like see people rally behind this, like to see the drivers show up to the race, like to have people talking about it, to watch it.
Yeah.
Like even if you go back, you missed it, go back and watch the replay because I
Mhm.
think any eyeballs on this content really matters in the long
Yeah.
run. So even if you didn't wake up early enough to catch the race, like go watch the replay, go watch the highlights. This kind of stuff matters in the long run. So I'm excited to keep watching this season and seeing how this progresses. But
Yeah. Me too.
first races under our belt, like amazing.
Agreed. All right, really quick, the girls' room. I just have two things to discuss. Two
Tell
things.
me.
One, my girl Luisa did
Mhm.
not win Dancing with the Stars Portugal.
Tough.
Super tough. However, she did win in my heart because she danced to Evanescence as her
Yes.
finale dance. And
Yes.
I said,
That was
wake
for
me
me.
up inside. That woke me up inside.
That woke
She
something
did
up
it.
inside for sure.
The second thing I need to talk about is Kelly Piquet at Paris Fashion Week with Cole
Cole
Sprouse.
Sprouse. What an odd couple. What an odd pairing. That was
I
that
was
kind of
like,
like,
am I seeing this correctly? I was like, is that Kelly? And I was like, is that Cole Sprouse?
yeah, that was
Yes,
certainly a
typical.
little whiplash. I was like, what's kind of happening here?
It was kind of bizarre. It was a bizarre moment. I don't really have anything to say about it,
We don't have any
but just
thoughts. We
like,
just wanted everyone to know about this.
what the fuck? Yeah, it was just a photo of Kelly in a beautiful black leather dress looking really, really good. Like she looked
Mhm.
amazing. And all of a sudden Cole Sprouse is there. It's
And
just
he's
like
there she is. She looks stunning. She's gorgeous and he's there. Like that's kind of how it was.
I was like, oh, an unexpected appearance from Cole
Just
Sprouse.
keep us on our toes.
I mean, always. One thing about F1 is it's going to keep us on our toes. Some way, somehow, it's going to keep us on our toes.
That's for sure.
So, before we hang it up for the week, we've got a manifest.
Do a little
You've just been doing a
manifest.
really good job with them, Nicole.
I'll
So I'm going
take
to make you do
it.
it again.
I'll take it.
You
All
just
right,
have been
so
doing really good.
this one comes from a longtime listener of the pod and friend on the gram, Brittany. She wrote to us to say that the Kate to her Nicole moved to Texas in September to start a new job. Her name is Katie, so that tracks. She said they lived in
Okay.
Nashville together, and Brittany's still there. Her friend Katie is unfortunately not happy in the new job and is searching for something new. And ideally, she'd like to come back to Nashville. And selfishly, Brittany wants her to come back too. So she would love to manifest the perfect job opening for her to come back to Nashville and into her arms. She loves her so much and she wants her to be happy. So she's manifesting a perfect job in general to open up to her. But let's put most of these thoughts into Nashville sooner rather
Okay.
than later, because it's very depressing not having my F1 buddy here for the season. Can relate. Let's all take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and just close our eyes and imagine your best friend in the whole wide world, unhappy and halfway across the country from you. It is a very sad, sad thought. But let's imagine that she has been working very hard. She's incredibly competent and she knows that the right thing's going to come her way eventually. And she's scrolling on LinkedIn and she finds the perfect job opening. And guess where it happens to be? It happens to be back in the city where you guys lived together. She immediately applies. Katie applies. She says, I'm coming back to Nashville. Her interview process smashes it out of the park. They're like, why would we even think about hiring anyone else? Katie, get your ass back to Nashville immediately. You're hired. And her and Brittany spend the rest of the F1 season absolutely having the best Sundays imaginable. I know for myself, I love spending my race days with Kate, so I can only imagine how Brittany must feel without her version of Kate, her Katie. So let's take a big deep breath in, deep breath out, and let's just really seal in those intentions this week by maybe checking in with your long distance best friend, seeing how they're doing. Maybe it's planning a visit. Maybe it's just chatting on the phone. But I think you can really just spend some time with the people that you love in your life. Thankfully, Kate and I get to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours at least once a week talking about Formula One. So I feel very lucky in that. But if you haven't had FaceTime with your BFF lately, make that happen this week.
Do a little FaceTime. Do a little
Yeah.
video call. Have a little happy hour.
Yeah.
Go back to the pandemic days where we did virtual happy hours.
I know, crazy. 4 years ago this week. Insane.
Yikes.
Feels like literally yesterday.
Literally yesterday. I know. Oh, that was a fun manifest, and I am always hoping for that. I'm hoping that you get a
You
job in
you
Providence.
you and I are always manifesting being back together. So
This is
Kate's
a
always like,
constant manifest.
I got a spare apartment for you. So Nick's also been texting me. So the two of you are kind of coming at both angles on that one.
Nick has, you
Yeah.
said?
Yeah.
If anyone can get you to move to Providence, Rhode Island, I think it's Nick and I. So
That's so fair. All right, friends, this has been a wonderful episode. Until next time, thank you for joining. We'll see
we'll
you on
see
the
you on the
internet.
internet.
Bye.
Bye.